Hey everybody, it's tafony here once again. Hope you're doing well. Today we were rambling about the WMD Metron. Normally I say, it sounds like this, and then we jump into the video. But today I think we're going to build the sounds of the Metron, or the sequence obviously, together, because I think that would be fun to cover. And more importantly than any of that, I want to learn. I want to learn some more tricks that I haven't discovered on the Metron yet, because there are lots of them. Before we get started, I want to mention that there was a successor to the Metron announced. I'm not really clear on where. There was a new entity called AMMT, I believe was the acronym, which was a new partnership between William Matheson and someone else, and there was a successor to the Metron, or the same Metron with a facelift. I'm not really sure where that's at, if that's still happening or what. I believe the Metron is discontinued, but still abundantly available new, at least at our retailer. If you know anything about the specifics of that, let me know in the comments, but I just wanted to point that out in case. These videos where is this gonna apply in a year? I don't know. Is this previous version of Metron going to be the only one that we end up seeing? I have no idea, but I just want to point those things out in case you're like, oh yeah, whatever happened to the Metron? Well, guess we're going to find out. So on that note, the Metron is 16 tracks. Love lots of outputs. That's really appreciated. I feel like Eurorack sequencers sometimes are really like, I guess, I don't know if it's because the jacks themselves are actually really expensive to make, and I have heard that before, but there's not like drum focus like the Metron is to have 16 tracks of outputs. It's just like very nice, very nice. I really appreciate that. However, saying that, I'm only using 8 of them, and I think that's okay. So with that being said, I've patched up on the first track the SSF Entity Ultra Kick, on the second track the SSF Entity Percussion Synthesizer, the old one, third the Timplegio, fourth the Percon's Voice, the fifth on the clap, 6th and 7th on the cymbals, and the 8th is blank for now. I'm going to have to find a way to mix all of this in, because I might actually run out of channels, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. The things on here, I will say the workflow is very techno-focused, I believe, and I'm pretty sure I saw an interview with William where he said the idea behind Metron was to try and make something that's like performative and evolving and like fun to variate in a sort of constantly changing way for like a long live set of techno. And I think that sort of expresses itself, I don't know if that's a word, but that sort of manifests in ways like the pause and play, the transport buttons. Well, just I think pause is the only transport button you really get, is behind a button combo, which is fine. It's just to say that I think the Metron is sort of, the idea is that it's always supposed to be running. It's kind of like variation, the techno, the groove is the focus, and not so much the stopping and starting, recalling new projects. You want to sort of one big evolving patch that's full of variations. So let's get into said patch. If I lay down 4 on the floor on our kick, and that is our first track. I want to show you some other things. There's a lot of button combos on here, which I don't always love, but they are like, I said this in the last video, maybe we'll pause this again. Button combo, hold, record, plus reset to pause. It's actually printed on the panel, which I appreciate that as well. If anything deserves your muscle memory, it's probably the sequencers, right? Like, I know everything in your rack is this constant screenless fight for your attention and your muscle memory and learning of all of these, discrete workflows. But what I'd say, like, if anything deserves that, it's probably your sequencer. I said the same thing in the Hermod Plus video I did yesterday, but it is what it is. I will say they're also pretty intuitive, though. So one thing I found when I was first getting the Metron, like, the first thing that I had to look up was, hey, why was the clock not running when it wasn't paused? And that's because the tempo was set to external. Now, if you hold tempo down, it'll show you we have 172 at the moment. Maybe we'll slow that down. That's pretty fast, even for me. But you can use these encoders. The button combos are kind of usually hold one parameter, click one of the encoders. So we switch that from internal to external, so if I hit play, nothing will happen. But if we hold tempo, hit this button, switch it to internal, now it's running. I know there's probably a better way to phrase this, but I love the huge array of buttons. Like you get 64 steps in your view, so 4 tracks, 16 steps each, and then you go through pages as you extend that. Right now we're only doing 16 steps for this whole thing, but I just, like most sequencers, you only get 16 pads at best. This one we get that across 4 tracks, which is awesome. The way that you jump through tracks too is through track groups, so it's really easy to just go over. So we have our first 4, we'll just add some other triggers in here. I need to mix these outputs so you can hear them, so maybe we'll just do that real quick. So easy way to check out our first 4 at the same time, and then if we want to jump over the next 4 tracks, simply hit the track group 5 to 6, no, 5 to 8, sorry, and then we'll add some hats in here. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going. And then we'll mix in our last one and go. And 4th track, here we go. Sorry, I need to change the sound. So the last 2 tracks that you're seeing on here, being the 6th and 7th, are my cymbals. So the first one's a ride and snare. I need to select a different sample pair. Yeah. So I really like that. This is our first variation across 7 different tracks. Sorry, 6 total. I did have to unplug one, but that's the basic workflow of it. If we go into variation B, you can see it blinking because it's queued up. And I think it's going to remain queued up because there's nothing in there. If I press a second time, it'll go. So that's an important piece of the techno evolving workflow, I would say, is that when you can queue it, it lets you select it and see it without jumping to it, right? So right now I didn't have anything on that other variation. We'll just go in here and press B. So now I can see it without jumping over to it, right? So that's the variation workflow. But what I want to do usually with that, and kind of the classic drum sequencing thing, is when you make variations, we want to copy what we made and then just make it a little varied. All of Metron's duplicate functions are performed using a similar button combination. The user enters duplicate mode by holding duplicate, and this is duplicate, copy, 1, A to B. There we go, boom. So now in B we have a similar one. That's really simple. Okay, well, I feel like an idiot for putting that off for so long. It was really easy. That's one of those that I was just like, oh, I'll learn that someday. Well, here we are. On that note, now we're in variation B. Let's spice it up a little bit. I will go in and make my kicks double time. And this is sort of the techno-y, jivin', live performing way that we want to use Metron. So I'll go in and jump over to A, bring in the mix. Here we go. And then I'll look at B, add some extra triggers. I did do that a little bit already, but that's okay. And now if I hit B again, you'll see it blink even faster. It's queued up and transition. We'll go over to our first variation and I'll take stuff away even more. Look at B, make it super dense, and switch back over to there. And queuing up A. So duplicating stuff, very useful, very good. Copy the first one, go into the third one. Now if we look at our third one, which is the C variation, let's bring in some more kicks. My something is way too loud. Let's turn down a couple voices here. Yeah. Now, okay, so one of the other, in the vein of copying things to make them quickly expandable, what I like to do, let's listen to this. So we have variation 1. If we hold down the pattern length, you'll see it's 16 steps. Now you can bring it up to any combination of them. If I switch over to page 2, you'll see where our bar ends is not an even division of 16. That's okay for now, but I'm going to bring it back down to 16 and show you how I usually like to simply just double it. I go over to page, and then there's a button combo here that's hold, and then this is pattern length duplicate. So hold the hold and duplicate button here, and then go pattern length duplicate. And I believe, hold on. Yes, that did it. So now when we go over to the pattern length, you'll see it's at 32. And we can do this twice again. Well, if we can do this twice total to give us up to pattern length 32. Yes, up to 48. Oh, that just adds a page. It doesn't actually duplicate? No. Maybe I need to be on the page. I guess so. Yeah, up to 64. Okay, so now we have a long expanded pattern. I can go in and make some variations on this here. I'll go over to a different variation of that. So we're looking at the B, same thing here. I'll duplicate it into 3 pages, 4 pages. 4th page on there. I wonder if I go into C now, you'll hear it now. If I am looking at the 4th page and I duplicate it here, yes. So now that'll, okay, that was the way to do it. Go up to where you want it to end and then use the pattern duplicate. So let's queue up a bunch of variations. I'll go over to the B. This is a little fast. Maybe we'll make it groove a little bit. So that's one of the things I really like to do. Again, button combos, nobody loves button combos, certainly not me. However, you can look on a per track basis here to see it all as one long bar per track if that's something you're interested in, just coming in and adding some triggers up here. One way to do it as well. See, some of them are more dense than others. If we go in now, trigger sequencers, you think of each trigger storing information within it, but when it comes to Metron, they talk about things being like a randomness or a probability engine. So the triggers by default don't have, or this is how I think of it anyway, the triggers by default don't have their own probability. What you need to do is hold random and set your percentage to 50. Now I need to check in the manual to make sure I'm not talking about that backwards. Let's see. The probability of random. So is it 10%, 25%, 50, 75, group A, group B, or group C? Interesting. So I will set these to 50%. And then what you do is go into the thing that you are looking to select and apply it to all of the decks that you want to add probability to. So now you'll see these all will have probability if we listen to it now. And if I decrease it, just on page 1, so watch. That didn't sound like 10 to me, but that's okay. Maybe they just got lucky. That's what probability is. That's how you do probability on the Metron. So it's fun. I will say, like, yeah, it seems a little unintuitive. If you had a screen, you could probably just multi-select certain trigs and then edit the probability value, like I'm thinking electron sequencer style, but it does give you that performative element where you can select the random and enter it manually. Like everything seems very performance focused, and you might love that, you might hate that, but that is what I think the ethos, I guess, behind the Metron is all about. There's also burst. I don't use burst because I like to keep my sequences like super fast, and then if I want to do like a fill, I'll just enter more triggers. Is that a backwards way of thinking about it? Is that a backwards way of thinking about it? I don't know. So we do want to go over to fill effects though, and this is where Mrs. Tafony loves to hang out because there's actually a lot of really fun things on here. And let's just pause it for a second. If memory serves, you can manually trigger here. Yes. I don't have anything on the third track, so you're not hearing that, but if we go. I know. These little buttons I probably wouldn't want to perform on so much, but if we record, and we'll hit play, arm the record, you can enter manually here. that's a nice way to enter it. If we started from scratch, like let's go into the D track, which you'll hear right now. If we do, I'll probably need to leave record mode just so I can hear the tempo. I don't have like a metronome going or anything like that. So let's go back into the fill effects, hit record. Maybe we'll just, yeah. And honestly, I would say that that actually works quite well, as opposed to, I've tried many a live sequencing of like, not for finger drumming, but like it's always kind of finicky in the rack. There's better out of rack solutions. That's actually like really refreshing, just how easy it was to get that going. So you do have loop options on here. I think this will make it stop every 13 steps. So if you get into uneven step things here, you can like syncopate your stuff in a performative way. Yeah, so here we have 2 steps, so now you're essentially like rolling it, right? So we're not going to record this in. You can record some of these effects in too, so just remember that if you want to add a roll, you could perform it on here and then roll it on this one. Just turn that record on to track that in. Actually, let's do that. Let's just track it in. Hopefully that wasn't tremendously off or in the weird bar. Super weird, but you know what? That's okay. If you don't record them, though, you can just use them as a live looping tool, and you can roll, which is fun, but you can also change the loop length, so you can go, we'll just do 1 triggered roll by looping it 1 step, so it's just going to re-trigger it 2 steps, 3 steps. I think I'm entering my roll looping in as well. You can syncopate it by doing a uneven number of steps, bringing it back around, and there's all these different roll options here. There's like a triplet. It's like marching band weirdness, but this is really fun to hang out in. And then there is mutes, so another great performance tool. I honestly like, this is probably where you want to be in your set, right? So we'll go load up my variation, go over to variation 2, and it'll save my mutes, which I want to point out that's a pretty distinct thing from how the Hermod worked in the last video, if you're following along video by video, which I hope for your sanity you're not. But if we go through, you can also do like a performance slide to mute all, and then we'll bring in piece by piece, bring in the other things. This is when I'm talking to Mrs. Tafony about turning the 4-bar loops into full jams for posting online. I'm like, just start by having nothing and introduce piece by piece, build it up, and then take it away. So we'll introduce piece by piece, maybe we'll do a little filtering, and this will be how we play this one out for today, I think. And bring in more pieces, bring in the last piece, bring it up in the volume, we'll distort it a bit. Kicks. Yeah. And fills. Yeah. This is Metron at its best, I think. I'll key up the next variation and unmute. Yeah. Add some reverb. Cue up the first variation. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There's some weird rolls on this end. Let's try those. And those are crazy. But if you were doing a techno set for half an hour, I would love to introduce something really ridiculous like this. Other variation. Bring it up, and we'll introduce some more elements and go. And the kick's coming, low pass. rate reduction effect.
Nothing to do with the Metron. My voice is.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that gives you some insight on the Metron, its workflow, its button combos, its ethos, I guess, the way that it tries to present itself, and the playability of it, which I actually really like. It's fun, it's performance-centered, and if that is or is not going to work for you, hope I was able to present that to you. So I'm Tafony. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that crap that Google's on my case about not promoting to you, and I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.